together dancing cheek to cheek. Yeah. Heaven, I'm in heaven, and the cares that hang around me through the week seem to vanish like a gallon's lucky streak. Yeah. And we're all together dancing cheek to cheek. Well, I'd love to climb a mountain and to reach the highest peak, but it doesn't thrill me quite as much as dancing cheek to cheek. And I'd like to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but it wouldn't thrill me half as much as dancing cheek to cheek.
It's a beautiful day, baby.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey, Kathleen, hand that mic to Jeffrey Lowe there, will you? This is Jeffrey Lowe, ladies and gentlemen. Tell us about yourself, Jeffrey.
Well, I'm a nerd. Since we got a lot of reverb on this, I feel like I'm down the hall, like in a cage. How about killing all the reverb? Choo, choo, choo. They trained. This is Kristen's part. Check, check. Hey, I'm with you. How about that? Is that better? That's right. My personal sound. Very sweet. Check, check, check. Hello? All right. Is that better? How about that? I can't even hear my outside. Wow. Maybe we'll wait till the second set when we get our technical difficulties worked out.
Tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm from Chicago. I'm married to Jennifer Lowe. I can't even say it. It's not even working. Why don't we save this for the second set?
Oh, just tell the folks what you do up there. I know you just played at the London Palladium. Tell us about that.
Oh, that was in April. Yeah. It's not going to work.
No, give him a mic that works there, will you? Please.
Please. My son.
There we go. Oh, this. There. Let's try that again. How about that? All right. Yeah, I play bass.
Are you having fun yet?
And I'm from Chicago, actually from Colorado, but I play bass up in Chicago and everywhere else that they'll allow me to play bass. And yeah, I played amongst a couple of things. I did last April. I played at the London Palladium in jolly old England for the 25th anniversary of Buddy Rich's death, which was a huge concert with a giant big band over there. I got to be the only bass player who played with a number of great drummers from all around the world, and a lot from England. One of them, if you're jazz people, you know, maybe Dave Weckl, who was really fabulous. Ian Pace was also a drummer who played with Deep Purple. You might have heard of them. And Ginger Baker, who played with this group called Cream, right? Also Gabson Harriets and Elliot Henshaw, some other guys too. So, but I am blessed this evening here to work with Mr. Dan Brubeck, to my right, to your left, who is doing amazingly well tonight. For only flying in yesterday and learning all this stuff just by rote.
Could I interject something? You know, the amazing thing about music and the amazing thing of how music can bring people together.
Yes, Larry, go ahead and interject.
No, that's my boss.
Hecklers in the audience. Hecklers.
Anyway, the amazing thing about music is, and the amazing thing about this group of musicians, who I'm honored to be a part of, Dan and I and Christine go way back. We played together for several years up in Woodstock and the New York City area, the upstate basically. And I played with Tim and Jeffrey the last several years whenever they come into town, because, and as a matter of fact, a show that I musically directed at the Tennessee Williams Fine Arts Center that would starred Kathleen several years ago. They were both on that gig because I met them and I said, man, these guys are great. So, but the amazing thing is, until yesterday, Dan and Jeffrey had never met each other, nor had Dan and Tim met each other. So what you're hearing today is we did a rehearsal, a gig last night, and we tried to do a rehearsal today, and here it is. How do you like that? I mean, that's amazing. Hand that mic to Dan. Dan, tell us how, and what the hell are you doing in Nelson? And tell us where Nelson.
Oh my God.
I saw the map today on his phone. Yeah, how is it that you ever?
It's completely not interesting.
It's not.
No.
Okay.
But I will tell you that I moved there, I don't know, about 9 years ago. And actually it was exactly when George Bush got reelected.
Okay.
That's when I moved. Yeah. I vowed to myself.
Tell the folks what you do. Tell us about the Brubeck Brothers Quartet.
Okay, well, yeah, I have a group with my brother Chris, who was mentioned earlier, who's a trombone player and a bass player. And we released 4 CDs. Our last CD, actually this month, was the editor's pick in Downbeat magazine. And it was the 7th most jazz CD played in 2012, which was. And I'll give it one more little plug, which was, what else did it do? It was, oh yeah, in All About Jazz, it was picked as in the category of 10 best CDs of 2012.
And then I heard it. Let me tell you how I reunited with Dan. I was in my household. We share responsibilities. One of my responsibilities.
Like the garbage cans?
One of my responsibilities is to bring in the garbage cans. And I have a car that has Sirius radio in it, and I'm going to work, and I'm coming to work, and I drive around my corner onto First Street, and I look up. Oh shit! I forgot to bring the garbage cans in. So now this car also these days when I use my phone, it comes over the speakers. Okay, and the Sirius radio cuts out, and I talk to my wife over it, and it's great for driving. So, as a matter of fact, I can say, call home, and the lady comes on and says, today you know what, it didn't work today. Right? You guys were, I was yelling at the lady, really?
I think Christine changed the voice thing.
But anyway, it was working, and I called home and I said, hey Chris, man, I forgot to take in the garbage cans. But right before I did that, when I heard this music, and I said, man, that sounds like Dan's playing, and it sounds like Mike D'Amico, who is the guitar player in the Brubeck Brothers. But it cut out when I talked to Christine, and of course when it came back on, sure enough, it was the Brubeck Brothers Quartet because it says it on the radio thing. So.
So there you have it.
No, there you don't have it yet. Simultaneously, Christine was reading Sean Colvin's autobiography. Does anybody know Sean Colvin? But yeah, she actually won the Grammy for Best Single one year for a song called Sunny, but not the song that we all know. Sunny. No, it's like sing a little of it, Chris.
Sunny came home to her favorite room.
Yeah. So anyway, Sean Colvin.
Thank you, Christine.
She's a real fine songwriter, and I was associated with her peripherally. My friend Lincoln played in her band. She was, if you know Buddy Miller's a legendary guitarist from Nashville who plays with Emmylou Harris and anyway.
Is this going somewhere?
Yes, it is. It is. And it would be done if you wouldn't interrupt me anymore. Right. Anyway, Christine's reading this autobiography, and she says, man, I could be reading the autobiography of myself. Sean Colvin's father introduced her to three-part harmony with the Kingston Freeman. The Kingston Trio.
That's old school.
Peter, Paul, and Mary, and they both went to see Kingston Trio. Their fathers both took them. Christine, I think, saw Peter, Paul, and Mary something like 17 times when she was growing up,
That's
something
true.
like that,
True.
and a great influence. So one day Christine says, Larry, why don't you know Sean Colvin got doors shut, but she was persistent, and she was successful. And so in her, I'll cut to the chase and tell her I'll tell you what she meant. She basically said, and she wouldn't say this, but Larry, why don't you get your head out of your ass and do something? That's basically what the point. And so what do? I said, well, man, why don't you do something, Christine? You know, Dave Brubeck's wife used to manage him. I said, Franco Richmond's wife. I said, man, do something for it. Rather than saying thank you, that's a real nice thing. And I went golfing or something. So anyway, Christine, the modern way, I guess, is Facebook. I might be the only one not on Facebook. Dan Brubeck might be the only one that's on Facebook but doesn't know how to use it. But anyway, she emailed to Dan on the Facebook. I don't know if it's email or whatever. But anyway, and Dan didn't get back to us. I said, man, that was, you shouldn't have done that. Right now when Dan is having, and Chris are having their best success, Larry's, we haven't seen him or talked to him in 10 years. Now we come out of the woodwork and we want to like grab onto his coattails of success or something. So anyway, but it turned out, they were in Russia playing with the Russian Philharmonic Orchestra. Or
Russian National Symphony Orchestra.
Tell us about that real quick.
Yes, I was in Russia playing with the Russian Symphony Orchestra.
Okay, well there you have it. You know what? That's enough of this story. But anyway, here he is because of my.
What about the trash can?
Oh, it's still out there. Anyway, here we are with Dan, and I'm real happy to have him back in my life.
But the point was that Christine called me, right? On your behalf.
Yes.
Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Christine. Yeah. But anyway, a sad thing, but not that sad because of his accomplishments and this and that, and he lived to be one day shy of his 92nd birthday. I reunited with Dan, and Dave passed away, and because of that, I think that we should do a song of Dave's.
Yay!
And I also would like to ask a friend of Dave's who is in the audience tonight to come up and just say a word, if he would. Would you?
Yeah, sure.
Noel Paul Stookey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Chris, when you sing, use my mic, because this one's screwed up.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, this is beautiful. This is great. It's great to reconnect. Great to see Jeff and hear Jeff and Tim and Dan play. Yeah, I was with the iconic Frozen in Concrete group, Peter, Paul, and Mary. That's many years ago, but amazingly, the same group stuck together for almost 50 years until Mary passed away due to complications from cancer. She actually didn't die from cancer. She beat the cancer, but you know, there's a lot that happens to you when you take chemo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I have a brief Brubeck Quartet story to tell that seems appropriate of the night. And I thought, when I heard Jennifer play, you know, that if Jennifer had been playing with the Brubeck Quartet, Dave might have introduced or the concept of blending classical music, which came very naturally to Dave, as most of you who know his repertoire will remember. The combination of classical music and jazz as being Class C, right? Class jazz, Class C. But rewinding to Milwaukee, I think the town was, the Dave Brubeck Quartet and Peter, Paul, and Mary were on the road together. Now I gotta tell you, this was a dream come true for me. When I was 16, 17 years old, just in high school, I
heard the music, Jazz Goes to Oberlin, all of the college stuff that your dad did. And I wanted to be the bass player so bad. Because I felt it was the only weak link in the group. I know. And then, then it got filled very admirably. And but I listened to a lot of Brubeck, particularly that most of you know. Right? Or anyway, the Blue Rondo a la Turk, take 5, that whole timeout section, and then of course the Brandenburg Revisited and the work with his brother, your uncle, Howard, right? So you can imagine how thrilled I was that the success of this folk group in 1963 put us on the stage with the Dave Brubeck Quartet. Dave worked and had a symbiotic relationship with an alto sax player by the name of Paul Desmond. Paul's fingers were stained yellow. I swear, he chain smoked in his sleep, you know? And he had this dry, acerbic wit. And so the story I want to tell really is more about Desmond than it is about your dad. Because we worked out this song that Christine and I are going to do tonight called Because All Men Are Brothers, which is borrowed from the St. Matthew's Passion. And it was right up, of course, Brubeck's alley, because the fusion of classical music and jazz came so naturally to him, and he understood, and not only that, but the contrapuntal relationship that he and Desmond had, the saxophone to the piano, the listening to each other's lines where they would play. The thing I just remember Dave Diggs Disney particularly, and the intimacy that they had. So a thrill for us. We're standing. They go on to open the show. They do about a half an hour, and then it's time for us to come up and do Because All Men Are Brothers. And your father decided that Paul Desmond should be the person who introduces us. Well, as I indicated, if Jennifer were to be playing with Brubeck, they would probably call it Class C, you know? But Desmond had a different take on the combination of the music that Peter, Paul, and Mary did and the jazz of the Brubeck Quartet. So Desmond says, we're going to bring some people up on stage now and do something together. They're a folk group and we're a jazz group, so I don't know whether you'd call this combined music Faz or joke. But we all knew what Desmond thought it ought to be called. So is this an appropriate time to do Because All Men Are Brothers? Come on, Christine. You got a good microphone? Just in case.
All
Noel Paul Stookey. Thank you, Paul. Christine Cordone. You know, thank you all for being here and sharing in the jazz music, and that you didn't expect a folk singer to be playing with this jazz group. But you should introduce. You should introduce like Paul Desmond.
That was cool. It was very cool. That was just too cool.
How did that sound, guys? See, it would probably have been a nice time to take a little rest, but we're going to take a little rest. Just talk amongst yourself. We'll be back. Going to let Dan go out and smoke some crack, and we'll be back. All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back.
Could have been like 6 inches further this way, but I got the 2 inches further. Most of us back. Woo! All right.
Is it okay? Yeah, exactly.
I'm so excited for you. I was
Okay,
I can't even tell you how
One more.